Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to do a reading. It's going to be done a little bit differently with the cards. These are all star signs. So your astrology, so you can base this reading and pick a pile based off your sun, your moon, your rising, north node, whatever calls to you, whatever pile really piques your interest, let's say. So we're going to base it off that. Now you can go by any system. I'm not going to gatekeep any of this. Pick whichever pile calls to you, or even the messages on the card. So there will be 4 piles, and each pile will have 3 cards. So the reading today is going to be a message from the stars. Now, what popped in my mind before I started was either like a cosmic message, or alternatively a message from like ancestors, because it kind of reminded me of the Lion King when Mufasa comes through like the clouds. So I was thinking like ancestors as well. So take this however you want to take the reading. So we'll start with the piles to be picked. So pile 1. I'm going to do one by one. Pile 2. Actually, I'll put them up here. Okay, okay, these 2 can be for pile 3. Pile 4. Putting this one for pile 1. Okay, pile number 2. This one can be for pile 3. And we'll go just one by one now. Hopefully they fit. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at each pile. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for pile number 1, you have Leo with courageous, regal, loyal. You also have Pisces with psychic, intuitive, and dreamy. You also have Virgo with analytical, functional, and efficient. For pile 2, you have Capricorn with disciplined, tenacious, and resilient. You also have Cancer with nurturing, sensitive, and caring. And you have Gemini with multifaceted, balanced, and curious. For pile 3, you have Aquarius with innovative, rational, and humanitarian. You also have Sagittarius with adventurous, free, and philosophical. And you have Scorpio with deep, intense, and transformative. For pile 4, you have a Libra with diplomatic harmony and balance. You also have Aries with trailblazing, innovative, fearless. And you also have Taurus with tactile, grounded, and stable. All right, so lots of mixed of elements and signs here. So see which one calls to you. You can go by any sign. I'm not intending for you to pick anything specifically by any sign. Go with what calls to you, whether that's your sun sign, whether that's different systems, whether that's your moon sign or ascended sign, whatever calls to you. But I'll leave you here and I'll get straight into the readings. Down below you can click on the timestamps to jump straight to your reading today. Hello pile number 1, welcome to your reading. So hopefully you enjoyed the little different ways of doing this particular reading. And what an array of different signs coming through with different elements and, different kind of stereotypes when we think of a particular star sign. So I do like all these that have come through. I mean, these two, I believe, on the star sign kind of like opposite ends are complete opposites. So really interesting. And also we have Leo here, of course, being good old Leo. So we'll put these up here. So you've chosen Leo, Virgo, and Pisces. They're just going to fit here like that. I might have to move you around. Go like that, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's take a look at a message from the stars. Might have to move this away, actually. I didn't plan this. Go. So these have been shuffled really well, especially before the first one, because I shuffle the energy in, and then after I pull the piles and I shuffle more energy into it, just to make sure that the cards know which pile's being picked at what particular time. Okay. Go with this one. I was asking my, I guess, intuition or team or guides or whatever you want to call it, what kind of reading would be good today for the collective. And I kind of got the picture of, it felt like vacation in a sense, but not exactly vacation, but just like being out in nature at night, looking up at the stars, making plans, making dreams, making wishes, and not even trying to force anything, just like thinking and contemplating our place in amongst the stars. So that's how I got to this kind of reading. Okay. So can we get a message for pile number 1 from the cosmos? I know there's one here. Okay, there we go. Okay. And these may be reversed, but I'm going to take them all upright. That's my intention for this reading. I do like it when I get an opportunity to do like a very open reading, because you never know what's going to come out. And when it's like general or a message from Mother Earth or the stars or, you know, universe, whatever you want to call it, it's always, you just never know. Okay, I'm going to take you. Okay, so pile number 1, let's take a look at your cards today. Start with your oracle cards and then I'll figure out how to put these ones down. Alright, so you have Zadkiel, the Angel of Mercy. Really interesting cards. These ones are the Angelirium. They're kind of a little bit darker, kind of touch on mysticism a bit with the Kabbalah as well. So they have angels, archangels, sometimes fallen as well. Obviously this one's not a fallen, but just really interesting imagery as well. Like a lot going on. Sometimes mercy can be like, give me a relief, like, you know, give me a break, give me a sign, something like that. And it's like there's many hands that have to play in everyone's life, right? There's different people, there's environments, different things happening around other people's lives too. Everyone's like a ball of like vibrating energy, and everyone else is like, you know, this one wants something, this one wants something, and sometimes they both want the same thing. So, you know, not everyone can get that same thing. And I think this is where this is kind of coming through. Interesting kind of message popping up already. Yeah, this is good. I think this is your relief pile number 1. The daffodil with new beginnings. It's interesting. I actually work, oops, just bumped my TV, on Daffodil Day. So selling daffodils, I got this little pin that I bought as well because it was sparkly. But the daffodils are meaningful to me too. And I think everyone that's had someone who's you know, knowing someone that's had cancer, because that's what the funds were buying for. But this is like you know, rebirth, a new beginning. New beginnings for sure. I actually want to read this card from the book because I think there's a nice message here. But this, I believe, will be the relief from whatever you've been going through. These are so different. All these signs are so like distinctive. They could be different for everyone. If you've picked a Leo, it could be something that's held you back or shadowed your zest for life or your light, right? You're meant to be shining bright and leading the way, being an example, not for other people necessarily, but just even living your own life. You're meant to live your own life. Everyone's meant to live their own life, but you know, Leo people see. And then we've got the Virgo here with the analytical, functional, and efficient. Sometimes this can be seen as kind of detached, but it's really wanting to get things done. Very caring and nurturing to of a sign. It just doesn't look like that on the face value because they're not the ones to go, hey, look at me, I'm the one showing you like love and all that support and stuff. They're actually doing the work. They're not trying to make sure you notice them doing the work, if that makes sense. Which is funny, right next to Leo, right? And neither are bad or good, it's just how we perceive it. And then we've got Pisces here with psychic, intuitive, and dreamy. Maybe there's something that's blocking or holding back your self-belief or trust or intuition. And the cards are coming through with saying, hey, this shadowy or challenging kind of period, because this could be a memory. Sometimes Zadkiel is seen as a memory, but very good to work with in regards to letting go of past or things that still hang around you. Sometimes it's not something that's happening right now, it's something that you were told or believed from the past. But a new beginning's coming through, which is really lovely. Yeah, here we go. So interesting. You've got Star Gathering, a message from the stars, and you've got the Star Gathering card. Stars aligned, remembering home and soul family. Look, this is a very open message, so I'll go with what I kind of feel straight away. But this feels like connecting with someone or even disconnecting with someone who was like soulmate or star family. If it's like disconnecting from someone who was like, you know, very close bond through loss, through breakup, that kind of thing. Sometimes people come into our lives to get us through a period, and then they leave, or they, you know, continue on, or we continue on. We don't have to owe anyone anything. If we feel like we need to break free, set ourselves free, shine differently, we don't want to stay in a connection or in a group, friendship group or anything like that just because it was helpful in the past. But if it's not working now and you're getting like bitter and angry about it, it's gonna end in like a tower moment rather than ending in like a mature adult kind of conversation type moment. Now, it doesn't have to be a complete end. This might have already happened, or it could be just like a shift or a change in a dynamic. If it's new, could be someone coming into your life to help you through something, or to help you, I don't know if it's like guiding you through something. I don't even know if they're still here or if they're past, right? They're like spirit guide or spirit messages, something like that. We'll see. We'll see what comes through. But it does look like something new beginning, so that you can, like if it's the remembering home, it might be tapping into, like with the Pisces, the intuition, starting to trust yourself and believe in your goals and your dreams. How you get there, who knows, right? But what we can do today is plan for that next step forward. Because we decide if we go on, like we decide if this comes in. It doesn't usually just come in for us. We're not just sitting there being cradled all the way. Okay. So let's take a look at your tarot. Remember, I will read these upright. Okay, so you have the 10 of Wands. And even it being reversed at first, it was like, oh yeah, this is something that's like weighing you down. This is where Virgo pops in. It's like, start to analyze what you're carrying. Start to analyze in a non-judgmental way. Not to say, why am I taking this? Oh, I'm so silly, or blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. It's just to be like, okay, I'm carrying this. When was this relevant? 10 years ago? Is it relevant now? No? Okay, maybe I need to look at that and see why I'm keep holding that. And maybe it's like a split second you release it. Maybe it takes days. Maybe it takes months, years, who knows? But it's better to acknowledge it and then decide where you go from there. Princess of Swords. Princess of Wands. She, especially upright, she really knows what's right for her and what's wrong for her. Does she always go with that? Not always, right? She's still learning. She's still understanding her craft with fire, her understanding of her own inner flame. That goes for all signs, really, to me. That feels like all signs. Just because it's fire doesn't mean it's necessarily Leo. Pisces has fire within them. That's where they find their energy to uncover new things, remembering the old ways that we've forgotten, to bring that back in a new environment, right, in the new world that we're already in. But she knows what's right for her, she knows what's not right for her, and it's up to her to decide what she releases to the flames. Just because you know what's right for you doesn't mean you always do it. Doesn't mean you always go with that. And that's not about judgment. It's just like, okay, I took this path. Now what do I learn from it? And now where do I go from here? Virgo coming in again. So you've got the Hermit card. Hermit card is giving you space and time to decide. You're not in any rush, or you're not being rushed, so don't feel rushed. Even by this reading, if you feel rushed, this isn't a rushed reading. This is definitely a contemplative reading. Give yourself some time. You are uncovered. It feels like for some of you, pile one, you're starting to see something in yourself that you either had a long time ago, or you don't even remember you had, or you never believed you could have. But it's always been in there, and it's just dawning, like it's just waking up. This remembering home is like, it's like being released or seen. And so that can be kind of scary in a way, especially if you're, humdug in life. Look, it's up to you. The Hermit is giving you space and time. There's no rush. There's really no rush. You're better to take the time to process, to review, to consider, and then make your decision. This is a very, the Hermit just slowed this reading down. It's just slowed the energy down, which is really nice, because there's no benefit in rushing into something unless, it's a fight or flight, real fight or flight situation. Okay, yeah, something to be released. You've got the Death card. Yeah, and even the Owl, the Owl knows, right? He knows. But even from death comes a rebirth. That's what I was kind of feeling here. From this old, something new. Something new that you'll, the past will still be there, but it's more empowering in a sense. You may not see it now, and that's okay. Step by step, right? You don't have to be like, well, I can't get here. And it's yeah, because that's step 70. It's hard to, when we're climbing up steps, to jump to step 70. You want to go one by one. Some people want to jump 2, 3 by 3, fine. It's harder and more energy consuming, but we definitely can't get to 70, right? So take your time. There's no rush. No one's rushing you. Might just move these slightly. These are chunkier cards. Also got the 6 of Pentacles. And you can see here, it's something was eating you. This is coming through to help the, I guess that thing that was draining you, that event, that person, that situation, that self that we hold on to. And this little ox tick, I can't remember what they're called, the ox pecker. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not so great, right? But also they are alarms for predators around. So there's it's a mixed bag, but it's definitely a good cohesive relationship. I can't remember what it's called, which is not great because I remember biology, but I just can't remember. But living together, mutually beneficial relationship. Also, it's knowing about where your energy is going. What energy do you have to give and to receive, and what energy are you giving and receiving? And is it going into the things you want to go into? Are you getting the energy you want back, or are you taking on too much? Are you carrying more of someone else's baggage, let's say, or you're taking it on because you feel you are supposed to. This is just a review. Take a look at that. Make sure you are taking stuff that is yours and not taking someone else's stuff that's not for you, because some people need to learn their lessons and grow themselves, right? So we don't want to keep holding on to it so that they're safe. Some people need to fall to like learn that they can't just like, you know, I don't know, whatever they're doing, like just jump into a lake that's, you know, unclean. You know, they have to kind of like do that. You can tell them, but if they just jump in, then you know you've done it, your job really. It's up to them to learn the lessons of whatever happens after. Okay, and you also have the Tower coming through. Yeah, this will feel like a shift. I would say the Tower's kind of coming through in a positive sense of like a decision being made to release some of this. However, if it's not, like if you don't review, you just leave it, and you know this is about something that's festering or rolling around in your mind, then eventually it will change and shift. It just might not look like exactly how you want it to, but it's better to process and deal with it over time. Now, again, you're not given a deadline. This is up to you. This could come through in many years. Could come through in many years, or not at all. It's just like there to kind of like, hey, it's time to start to shift things, shake things up. Okay. So an interesting read. Now with all the cards down, there looks like there's a shift coming in for you to help you release some of these old energies or old things, and even Zadkiel's kind of coming through to, you know, give mercy, bring relief, a relief plan. I don't know if there's someone from your past or someone who is just completely new that's coming in. I did talk about a soul mate or soul family being from the past that's no longer in your present. That's okay. Soul family, soulmates, those type of things aren't always supposed to be there for ever in one lifetime, right? Sometimes they come in and out. Sometimes they just pop in once. I was watching this like short clip of this woman who was just on a subway train and talked to this person. I'll cut it really short, but she just like chatted. She realized that she's in a really toxic environment at work. She wasn't being treated very well. She was overworked, etc., etc. She was, and then she just like a couple of weeks later, she just decided to leave, and you know, never saw that person again. But you know, how impactful was that conversation? She was like, "Well, I work for myself, or I work with like these kind of people." I'm assuming she decided to find a new job and that kind of thing, obviously, because you know, bills, you know, life costs money in many ways. But it's also not worth doing something that's kind of like quote unquote killing you, right, or draining you. So that kind of makes me want to come through and just say, like, why carry those things? Why carry those tough memories? And how can you acknowledge and work on releasing them? Doesn't mean they go away. They will always be there in some sense, but definitely a time of release and contemplation and understanding so that you can live in a more peaceful way. This feels like I just want harmony at this point. I don't need like the big kind of like prize or anything. I need the flow of energy, flow of life to be calm. I want to, like, if you're on a boat, I want it calm seas. That's all I want. I don't want to like, you know, a sea of like, if what is that thing that people are looking for? The fountain of life. I don't need that. I just need peace. And that's how you can get it and understand what's draining your power and what's actually like, you know, draining your power, like helping, but kind of disguised in a sense sometimes. It's not actually helpful. Where am I putting my energy that's not actually helpful? Do I put too much emphasis on whatever, like money, or like not getting this or not getting that? Or am I putting it in the right areas? Very contemplative, lots of decisions to be made. I think the Death card and the Tower card show understanding and information. Like maybe you've had many messages with all these vultures flying around. Like you kind of know what's old and what needs to be refreshed and restarted, but there's definitely this opportunity. It is coming through. However, it has to be taken depending on what you decide. I feel like with this pile, I did speak at the start, like with the Mufasa thing and Lion King, with the stars like coming through, like this may be like again, of course, it's soul family. What am I talking about? Like ancestors as well coming through with a kind of message here that you may be able to relate to and understand. But a lot going on here. I feel like the Pisces with the Hermit really helps with understanding. Look at it from many different aspects. Whatever you practice, whatever your mindfulness practices are, walking in nature, standing in nature, sometimes just being feet on the ground. Actually, I was told to do that, so after these readings, I'll go do that too. You know, whatever it is, meditation, whatever, you got to do it in your way. And Leo is all about doing it their way, right? Showing up, being present. So, number one, be present for yourself too. Okay, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. This is a really lovely reading. And honestly, just as like one last little thing, this is probably my pile too, because in the topical star system, I have Pisces as my moon and Virgo as my sun. So it really does kind of relate to probably this being my pile, and I'll have a contemplative think about it as well. But thank you very much for being here. Take care, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading today. So you've chosen Capricorn, Gemini, and Cancer for your piles today. So really interesting. The signs have been, they haven't just stuck to their own elements, right? We've got earth, wind, and water here. So really cool kind of mix today. And I think that's the whole point. This isn't about separation or like, oh, these signs go with this sign, this goes there, and this, that. This is an old way. We're multifaceted people. We're not one thing. We don't need to box ourselves in. And I love that the zodiac decided to come through with like a whole range of different types of signs, right? Because we've got many different things here that don't really always like click in or fit exactly, but that's the whole point. Neither do people, and neither do we with our own feelings sometimes and thoughts. So let's take a look at your reading today. I'll put these up here. Capricorn, Gemini, and Cancer. So I've done a little bit of a shuffle, but I'll shuffle them again. So this is your message from the cosmos. Okay, I'm going to flip it already, but not yet. So this can also be a message from ancestors as well. Like I said at the start, Lion King kind of popped up in my head, and I was like, okay, I haven't seen that in such a long time. In a few years. I don't think I've watched any of the remakes either, just the original from the 90s, I believe. Yeah, I was a kid when it came out. There we go. I think I was prime target for that movie. Okay, I think we're just going to start. No, we're going to keep going. So these ones might be reversed as well. I'll just let you know that I'll be reading them upright. If they come out reversed and there's anything I need to mention, then I will. But my intention is to keep these upright regardless of their position as they come out. So a message from the stars. It's like a pile here that has one. There we go. Oh, okay. Queen of Wands coming out. I always like the Queen of Wands because she kind of doesn't really, she's starting to, or she knows what her worth is, her value, what she's interested in, does what's really, gives her power back, right? Reclaims her power and doesn't let the outside world always dictate how she thinks and feels. She's deciding that on her own. Also touches on sensuality as well, sexuality. So we'll see how that all plays in. It's interesting with the fire card flipping over. since we have no fire signs, right? So we've now got all 4 elements out. Okay, let's just move these down a bit. Okay, cool. All right, so let's take a look at your reading. So you've got Material, the Angel of Rain. It's a really interesting imagery here because there's like this kind of like a magical orb of water, right? Cleansing through her mind and her hands. Like it's almost like a cleansing her beliefs. Not exactly changing them, right? It's just like refreshing like her devotion, her self-honoring practices, that kind of thing. I don't know gender exactly, but I'm just saying she, just as a placeholder really. But you know, you can just see it here, like this cleansing. This rain is cleansing as well. It cleanses the land, it refreshes the land, it washes away debris and dust and that kind of thing. It's just like cleansing. Okay, interesting. You also have Hathor light codes with light immersion, full system upgrade, and power recall. That makes sense with here. This is about empowerment with whoever, you know, whatever reason why you've chosen this pile with these signs. This is about bringing that power back in, especially if you're like, you know, any of these signs, but especially if you're like a Cancer, the nurturing, sensitive, caring kind of side of your aspects. They can flip, right? Not all Cancers are going to be nurturing, caring 24/7, and so they shouldn't be. There's so much more. Like literally with Gemini, multifaceted. Everyone is multifaceted. So this is about, where am I putting my power? Am I, you know, remembering my specific disciplines, I guess is how it's like. Am I doing what is right? Because a Capricorn can obviously, with like a resilient, tenacious, always on the move, kind of like a goat on a mission, right? That's Capricorn in a nutshell. This is like, am I actually on a mission to, which is what I want to do? Or am I on a mission to just be on a mission? I feel like that's kind of something that wants to come in here as well. So recalling power, light immersion. This is a good time to cleanse, but it's not just like cleansing with water. It's like refilling with light, refilling with love, and that's the whole full system upgrade. So this isn't exactly something that's just like one chakra here or there, or one kind of like mind, or just body, or just spirit. This is a whole kind of cleanse and refresh and revitalize, re-energize. So very cool. You also have family with the wolf spirit. Interesting. I believe for some of you this may touch on this. It doesn't necessarily mean, okay, this is about your family, right? But this does, like this coming through may come from potentially old ideas and old thoughts or expectations and things like that. Not to like put any burden on family. It's more about just understanding without judgment or blame. So interesting that family is coming through with these wolves. Also, it just like, this looks like almost like a spirit, right? Like a spirit wolf. Bravery, leadership qualities. Sometimes also lone wolf. Sometimes we have to take a break from people. Sometimes we have to like get back into the fray of like family, or even if we're talking about work, like, you know, being the leader in there, being the leader for ourselves, getting that back into shape, let's say. It's an interesting one. That family comes through. Okay, so you've got the Four of Cups. Definitely a power recall here. We're talking about cups and we've got fire in the background, so you can tell it's like out of order, or out of alignment, or out of it doesn't feel as structured as it should be. It doesn't feel as structured like as things should be. It's kind of like you're doing, it's kind of like this feeling of, I feel like I'm doing the right things, but I'm just not getting the right results. Maybe that needs to be looked at. Maybe that needs to be reviewed. Or maybe the energy is just getting taken from you or put into things that aren't actually where they need to be. Are you looking after yourself? Are you looking after the things you are responsible for? Where is your energy? Okay. Got to the Nine of Swords as well. It's interesting, this was one that came out reversed, but I'm reading this upright. Nine of Swords, regardless, is a challenge, right? It's something that weighs on our mind. And also here, this imagery, it's not like the traditional one where he's in the bed, can't sleep at night, but it's kind of like expectations, right? It's kind of like, you know, old school kings and queens and stuff, and like they'd get assassinated or die or whatever, and then they'd be like the new king, and it would be someone who's like 7 or 8 years old and things like that, which is kind of like a lot of responsibility. So this feels like an aspect of feeling responsible, or like being away from family or your responsibilities, but maybe they're not your responsibility, right? People need to be responsible for themselves as well. So it's hard, it's tough. This feels like I mean, there's Nine of Swords doesn't come up for like fun. It does come through with like an understanding things are challenging, and expectations can be tough. So how do you process that? How do you start to deal with that? Understand where your energy is, what it's about. Is it my responsibility, or are other people responsible for themselves? Really, people are responsible for themselves. You know, at a certain age or a certain time in their life, it's time to start taking responsibility for themselves, not for you to try and fix the problems. When maybe nothing's broken, it just needs to be lived. They need to just live their existence their way. And whatever happens, happens. It's an interesting one. I know it sounds kind of like off, but that's the whole point of this power recall and this queen here. It's in regards to the disappointment, or the feeling of stress or disappointment or emotional kind of draining. Yeah, so we have the Five of Swords here too. It's interesting, it's right next to family, with like a win-lose kind of situation, right? The Five of Swords can be like a win-loss. Here we can see Five of Swords as a win for humans, right? They're taking over more space so they can have more occupation of the land. They have more, hopefully cheaper housing, you know, that kind of thing. Everyone complains about that, and it's just like eventually it gets less and less and less and less space for the animals. So really, while they're not directly like fighting for the land, the humans are just taking it. This means that there's less space and land for others out there. So when I'm talking about it from a family point of view, sometimes, you know, it can be as simple as like arguments, right? Or falling into old patterns with like parents or siblings and stuff, and just buying into that when they kind of poke. Or maybe they don't even poke, you just expect them to poke, so you just like jump at them in the first place, and it's like, what's happening? Why is this happening? Time to start breaking those cycles for sure. Or even if they're not happening, just try to get that worry out of your head, especially if you feel like you're responsible for family or parents and stuff like that. Really hard. Depending on the situation, obviously everyone's situation is different. I'm not saying you should do this or should do that. It's just talking to it. So really, if you're getting kind of like irritated by maybe the message or anything like that, just ask yourself, what is on my mind? What is causing this? Where does this come from? How can I claim back the power that situation has over me? Slowly, slowly, you're not rushed, you're not being forced to do anything. You're actually given the power back to you with the Magician coming out. You're able to, this multifaceted kind of Gemini kind of pinging, you do have the ability to recreate things, change things, shift things mentally, emotionally, physically. Give yourself this back. Take that back, claim back this power that's really yours. Okay. Oh, I thought it was reversed for some reason. So you've got the Hermit as well. Again, the Hermit came out from this deck in the last pile, in pile 1, which was really similar. It's like a very similar message as well. So if you're drawn to Virgo, Pisces, and Leo, like in any other sign, maybe you want to check that out. But again, this is giving you the space. There's no rush. You don't have to solve every problem in the world today. Just take the first step to whatever first issue that you want to work on is. And firstly, understanding what that is and how that relates to your energy is really important. But I feel like you will be able to deal with whatever this is anyway, because you've already dealt with it this far. It's just making sure that you're not exhausting yourself or missing out on something that's important to you, especially if you're getting pulled in and like called to do something, right? But you're like, oh, I have all this to do, I can't do that. This is kind of saying, hey, you've been given the opportunity. This light code information is coming through to help you. Just have to kind of dive in a sense, and decide what that looks like for you. Feels like it's all about you. Part number 2. I will pull a Starlight card as well. Didn't do this for the last pile, I forgot. But I think we got enough message that that was enough. So this is for pile number 2. Okay. Limitless, know your worth. Absolutely. This is what it's all about. It's not about judgment. It's about knowing your worth. Knowing who you are, regardless of what kind of the purpose of why you've picked this pile. It's not about labeling. It's about the message here. And really, limitless, knowing your worth. Absolutely. You can overcome whatever. You're even built for it, kind of in the sense. But just because someone's built for something doesn't mean they should do it, right? Just because someone's like tall, a 7-foot person, that means they should play basketball. They don't want to play basketball. Why should they play basketball? They should do what they're interested in, whatever that may be. So just because you've done something for a long time doesn't mean you have to do it for your entire life. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. So hopefully you have enjoyed this reading. Take care of yourself, pile number 2. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. But otherwise, I'll see you in your next reading. Hello, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading today. So your message from the stars today. So you've chosen Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Scorpio. So really interesting. We've got a whole different elements on every single sign, right? We've got water, air, and fire. And that feels like that's how all the piles have been. They all have a mix. And I like that. I think that's a good idea. Not really like I picked them, right? But it's like it's a good way of doing it because we're not just one sign with one element. We're many signs with many different elements in different houses and different planets and all sorts of different things, right? So I'll leave these up here and we'll see how they play into your reading. So I've shuffled these a little bit. Whoa, okay, this one. Okay, so a message from the stars. Cards have been digging deep today, so hopefully all is well in your neck of the woods. Okay. I might put these ones down here because they're a little bit more chunky and these are slimmer. Now these might come through upright or reversed. Now I'm reading them all upright. However, if there is a message and I see it, I'll call it out and talk to you about it. Okay. So, a message from the cosmos. I think I said message from the universe. But I guess, you know, they are in the universe. Just as we are. Okay. Straighten all these up. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's take a look at your reading. I will say a theme for the last two piles has been to slow down, and we'll see. Hard trying to tell some of the signs to slow down when they're not used to slowing down, but definitely a message of calm. Okay, so you have Chokmah with the right eye, wisdom. This is part of the Kabbalah, or the tree of life. Really interesting here, you can kind of see these two faces, kind of like the separation. I don't know if this is a feeling of separation or if this is a need to go deeper within ourselves and see our multifaceted, understand our multifaceted selves. But wisdom is something that you have, right? It's like embedded. It's like gleaned from past, or gleaned from relationships, or gleaned from something, gleaned from family. So we'll have a look. I did say also at the start, this may come into effect of, what did I say? Ancestors. Excuse me, ancestors. So this could be something you've picked up from familial relationships. Okay. You also have Aspen Spirit with courage. I like this. This is a nice message. Giving you kind of like, even though it's courage, not hope, it kind of feels like hope in a sense, or bravery, to go forth, to make plans, to step into. Because you've got the information. You might want to shake things up. I'm not sure what this is, which makes sense with like Aquarius, generally like that humanitarian, right? Or even just wants to do something right for the people, but starting to shift that. Maybe you're already doing that. Maybe something's calling you into a different direction. And Scorpio, deep, intense, and transformative, about change, transformation, shifting. Interesting. And again, even with Sagittarius, with adventurous, free, this is something different. So whatever this is about, if you're thinking of doing something specific or different, step into that. Do that if it's calling to you. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. You've got the Arcturian light codes with evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. Interesting. The evolutionary downloads do feel like, that's why I was like at the start, this might be from the past. This is like something gleaned. Could be even the future thinking about the things we've done for so long, like the education system, like that's always been very similar to how it's gone for the last 100 years, right? And then other things have like changed leaps and bounds. Doesn't mean education system needs change. It's just like, where in life do I want to change, within my life, within someone else's life, or like a group of people? Like where do I want to put my energy? Where am I being called to or drawn to with my intuition? What am I missing? Why am I being called this way? You might have like, perfect, not perfect, but like a great life and how things are run and everything. It just might be, flowing. But if you're being called to something, then this is the reading to trust that and listen to that inner calling. Recalling power again. This came up I feel like this came up in every reading, really. But pile 1 and 2, recalling power. Everyone seems to be needing to recall their power, claim it back. It came through with different cards every single time, but the same wording, recalling power. Bringing your energy back to you, making sure it's not in places that it doesn't need to be. Okay, well, let's take a look at your tarot. So you've got the Devil card. Okay. You have the Princess of Wands. She came through in pile 1, this particular one. And same with the Hermit in the same position as well. Interesting. They were literally here and here, so that's really interesting. These are shuffled between each pile, between each reading. So the fact that they came out here, if you were drawn to, what was it, Virgo, Pisces, and Leo, then go check that out as well. If you were called. If not, that's absolutely fine. There was a different message, slightly different message. but everyone seems to be getting like a similar message for whatever reason. So I'll start with these cards. So the Devil card, we all know it's generally like the thing that we feel chained to or drawn to. Sometimes it's like a quote unquote negative thing, like an addiction, or like anything can be kind of turned into addiction, right? Like sugar's not necessarily bad, but if we over consume it, it's not great for us. TV or the internet's not necessarily bad. It's just like if we're missing out on things because we're just watching TV or just like researching or looking into whatever or on social media, then it can be kind of negative, right? So it's like, where am I putting my energy into that's not helpful to my goals, let's say? Or am I giving myself enough free time or free energy? Am I giving myself enough freedom to watch TV and relax? Because you can be watching TV but focusing on work. You can be playing video games, but in your mind you're like doing your work. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's not necessarily bad, but it's not great when you're supposed to be relaxing and looking after yourself. And the Princess of Wands, she understands what's right and what's wrong for her in a sense, but not everything, right? She's still learning, she's still growing, she's still understanding her element of fire in this particular image. She understands like what's right for her, but doesn't always do it. She's not always doing what's right for her. She knows what's right for her. She doesn't always just do it though. She's understanding, and that's why the Hermit's kind of coming out. It's like, take your time with your flame, with your light. Your flame is your sense of light and understanding. This is giving you space and time to contemplate and think about where you're putting your mental energy. I feel like a lot of this is mental. No swords have come out yet, but it just feels like it's probably something that's rolling around in your head. It may be mental in relation to something you're passionate about, your fire, right? But regardless, I feel like the first part is to understand where your mind is putting things, because you're getting a lot of stuff coming through and you want space for that. You don't want to be holding on to the past, but this message really is around doing what you feel you should be doing, or listening to the calling within. Yeah, and then you've got the Three of Wands, very Sagittarius, with adventurous, going on a new path, doing something different. You might want to start changing something. I have no idea. Job? I'm not sure. Hobbies? So another three. So we've got Three of Wands and Three of Pentacles. Interesting with the wolves. And you've got the Queen of Wands. I think she came out in pile 2 as well. It's really interesting. She came out in this from this deck. But similar thing here. The Queen, there's a lot of wands here as well. Understanding the difference between the Princess and the Queen, right? She is on her way to becoming this. She's on her way to becoming how would I word her? The person who knows who she is, really. Who doesn't let the outside world decide who she is, doesn't put labels on herself, doesn't let anybody out there tell her who she is. She knows who she is. That's really how it's kind of feeling. Just because she knows who she is doesn't mean it's not. It's like, well, I know who I am, but that doesn't mean it's not easy. It's like easy to just go and do the things that I want to do, right? There has to be time and a place, and this is giving you space for that with this Three of Wands. It's like on the adventure, and you can also be on the adventure while learning, right? Or by hermiting, or just taking it slow. Like you can go on an adventure, but you can slowly. You don't have to like run down the road to the next town or to the cave or whatever, or to the whatever, the new adventure that you're on. Take your time and put in place steps. Like the first step of, how do I get towards that? Do I need to talk to the place that I work at to shift something around, or change some times, or learn something different? Or do I need to speak to my partner about doing something different in our relationship, or whatever? There's so many things that it could be, but if it's holding on to you and you're not really getting like it's been pulled away, your energy's been pulled to something else. This is just like a reminder that this is just an illusion. You're not actually chained to your life or to your surroundings. You always have a choice in many, many, many different situations. Even if your choices are very, very limited, right? You still have a choice to be like, I will or I won't. Yes, no. Hopefully you're not in that kind of situation, but if you're here and watching this, you're probably not at that kind of place, hopefully. But again, with Scorpio being here, this evolutionary download, it does feel like it's very deep within, something that's from within coming out. This download might be not exactly information that you'll utilize. It might be just like a key coming down into your body and then unlocking the like many multifaceted aspects of yourself coming out. And so you're like, whoa, I was fine with everything being the way it was. This looks interesting. It actually looks fulfilling, right? More fulfilling than maybe what I'm experiencing, but I don't know. And I want to say that the cards coming through with giving you courage and just letting you know you can. Okay, I'm going to pull one last card. So this is a Starlight card. Look, this has to be at your own individual pace as well. This isn't for anyone to tell you how to do this, what to do. Do your own research, have a look at things, decide what's right for you. And if you don't change anything, that's okay. At least you gave it the thought and time to review. But, it's all about making sure you're giving yourself the option. Yep, take your time. You got the moon, would take time to reflect. There's no rush with this one. There's no rush at all. It's like opening up. It does feel like it's opening up aspects of you, which can like lead to some kind of like fear or pain or like worry, right? But if you feel into the energy, does it feel like good energy to explore? That'll tell you whether this is right or not. If it doesn't, if it feels like dangerous or not ego like fear, but just like if it feels like that's not something to open up right now, then at least you took the time to reflect and see if it's right for you. Okay, but very good energy. I do like Three of Pentacles. I didn't really talk too much to it. The Three of Pentacles is like skill and artistry, right? This is starting to grow as a person or grow as yourself, like grow within yourself and within your surroundings. Like this deer or stag has to make a choice really of, where they go, what they do, because there's many options that have many different paths that could maybe not work out. So that's when they need to trust their intuition. And maybe one of the wolves is like injured or something, so that's the path to go. Who knows? But trust your instincts. The deer kind of has to, or the stag has to, so can you. But it puts you in this power. It puts you in this energy of the Queen of Wands. Someone who lives by example, not necessarily trying, but just by living and being themselves. Okay. Thank you very much for being here. Hopefully you've enjoyed your reading. Let me know if you have any messages in the comments. Otherwise, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, partner number 4. Welcome to your reading today. So you've chosen Libra, Taurus, or Aries, or and. So we're going to take a look at your cards today and see how they relate with your particular sign. Also, we are in Libra season right now. So if it is your birthday coming up or you've had a birthday, happy birthday if you've chosen Libra from your sun sign. Okay, but let's take a look at your cards. So these have been shuffled. So this is a message from the stars, a message from the cosmos, maybe even your ancestors popping in here because I feel like they have kind of snuck into this reading. Not this particular one, but the, overall message, overall readings today. Okay. I feel like Taurus is popping up a little bit just while I'm shuffling. I don't know if it's anything like immovable or like wanting to stay put. I'm not sure. We'll have a look at what comes through. Okay. So I think I'll put these ones here because these ones are a little bit smaller. Okay, so can I get a message for pile 4, please? Message from the cosmos. Oh, you want to come out? Now these might be reversed. I'm reading them upright unless I see a message where reversed is appropriate. Oh, this one's just popping out. Okay. So they've all been shuffled. They came out a little bit quick. That's just because they've had a good shuffle with the intention of the energy for this pile. So we'll start here. Okay, interesting. Zadkiel actually came out in pile 1. So I think I've said this for almost every single pile. But if you were drawn to pile 1, Virgo, Pisces, and Leo. If you are drawn to it, you might want to check them out because we have Zadkiel, the Angel of Mercy. I always see Zadkiel as kind of like helping with challenging stuff, getting over old wounds or pains or challenges. It's kind of like a memory kind of aid in a sense as well. So it could be something that we think about that's on our mind. Maybe something like that's popping up in a way, like good or like not great, right? We'll have a look. Okay. Okay, so you've got the Spirit Guardian of Winter, and if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you've come into autumn, leading into winter, right? But this card is a retreat, so it is like a time to go within, in a sense, almost like a hermiting. Doesn't mean you have to hermit, it's just like taking a break away from the gears of life. Like sometimes we just get stuck into routine. Something here about that. We'll have a look. Okay, so you also have Palladian activation with coming together, harmony in the heavens, and resolution. This is great. This feels good. This is probably why you might actually need a retreat, not to do anything, but need a retreat to give yourself a break, like celebrate your successes, celebrate something. Hopefully that's where it's at. If it's not, that's okay as well, right? It's time to take some space for yourself. Harmony in heavens, things starting to align, things starting to calm. If you come from like challenges or mental thoughts or like, processes and things like that in the last few months or maybe even last week, things are starting to even out and balance. So that's really great with these cards. Makes sense, Libra, balance. What am I talking about? Of course. It's funny when they just line up and I'm like, did I miss something? And it's like, oh yeah, harmony, balance, of course. Yep. Nice. Okay, cool. So for Libra, for your Libra season, hopefully it will actually bring some kind of resolution and balance into things, which is really nice. Make sure you celebrate your successes too. Give yourself some space to enjoy. Doesn't all have to be work. Be like Taurus, give yourself some space to chill. Okay, so this card's popped out a lot. I think it's popped out in 3 piles now. This is the 3rd. She's popped out a lot today. So I feel like with this card, even after shuffling really, really like thoroughly, she just keeps popping out. Why is she popping out? I feel like she has a message of understanding, like understanding who we are, understanding what's right for us, what's not right for us. Sometimes we know what's like not right for us, but we keep doing it, right? Whether it's like food or like dealing with a complicated person, we still put our energy into it. This might be a time to review that and make sure. Even here it feels really cozy, right? It's like this nice little hut in the snow, and she has this like nice fire around with kind of these 2 protectors. So that's really, really pretty. she's also understanding. It's not about judging because you're not at a particular place. She's understanding many different aspects of herself. She's understanding her passion and her fire and like how to wield it and to make sure she doesn't burn herself or burn out or burn others, right? It's about understanding that flame that's within all of us, especially Aries, right? Aries is the fire sign here, the trailblazer. And trailblazing might be great, but sometimes that's when it's like, you know, if it's left to keep going, that's when it like burns down a forest or something. Okay. Oh wow, so you also have the Princess of Swords, and similar to the Princess of Wands, she's understanding her element, she's understanding her mind, her thoughts, where her mind goes, what that's all about. You're really being called to like take some time for yourself too. Very much about slowing down with the retreat and giving yourself some space to understand, like from many different aspects. Doesn't have to be just passion or like fire, and doesn't have to be just thoughts. Can be feelings, can be many aspects of who you are and where you're putting your power, where your mind is at. How can you harmonize that? How can you get back to a peaceful state? Especially deep diving into memories, just because Zadkiel's here and he's all about, like in my mind anyway, kind of touches on memories. This one does talk about mercy, so it's like a relief and resolutions, whether they are like the Ten of Swords or the Ten of Cups, right? They're a relief because now it's like time to celebrate, or it's time to move on or get out of that old stagnant situation. This might be really calling you out a little bit, Taurus, as well. Sorry, not kind of like trying to like pick at anyone, but just like it's time to, like, it's lovely being grounded and stable, but sometimes we need to move out of a situation, especially if it's not working or healthy for us, right? So something to consider. Obviously, you do you. Okay, so you've got the Lovers card. I like this. This is coming to a very nice conclusion for sure. Something that's more positive. I will say as well, the choices and decisions you make sure you choose them from the heart and what's more important to you. Now, that could be not making a decision, but as long as you come to that conclusion from your heart, I feel like you will be in the right space, in the right place, at the right time. But give yourself some time to consider. That's all I'm saying. You have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, we get it. We get that it was kind of, it's been a road. And these are dangerous, right? These, what are they called? Porcupines? Porcupines? Yeah. Their quills can get stuck and they get barbed, and sometimes the animals can't get them out, so they kind of die with them. So they can be kind of dangerous as well. And it's kind of feeling like prickly, like being someone that's kind of gone through, like, at the end of a day or something, you've had a really busy day and then you come home and you just want to kind of relax, and then there's like people demanding your energy, right? So you can lash out. That's when it's like, oh, I just need to I need my safe space so I can just chill. So if that kind of happens, maybe you can drive somewhere and just park for a moment and just sit and take a breath and just listen to a song or something like that. Just slow down. Give yourself a little bit of time. I think this happens sometimes as well. I noticed that just growing up, and even our partner coming home sometimes with just sitting in the car for a little bit longer, which is absolutely fine, right? It's not like I don't need to know exactly what's going on with everybody's business, and it's nice for them to just give themselves some breathing space, even if they notice they're doing it or not. Sometimes they have no idea. They're just subconsciously taking a breath or a break, and you deserve that as well. But also, Nine of Wands is about almost reaching a goal, things coming to a conclusion. Keep going. You're almost there. And definitely true, because this activation is proving that to be true. So you've got the High Priestess. I love this with these two princesses, right? Kind of like in a trine or a triangle, right here. Especially with these being I've always seen the fire in the air is up in the sky, right? And the water and the earth is down. And we got here with the bat being upside down, just feeling trusting your intuition, giving you back your your a clear mind, uncovering many different aspects of yourself when you think about these things. Because she can be kind of secretive, but she's not secretive for no reason. Sometimes people won't learn the lesson if they're just given the answer. They won't learn how to solve their problems if they're just given a conclusion. So there's definitely a lot of learnings from the past for you, things that you've gone through. Okay. And you also have the Nine of Swords. It's also popped out in pile 3 from this deck, but still the same card. It's interesting that you got 2 princesses here and a major, and then 2 nines and a major. I don't think it necessarily means anything. It's just interesting, just something to note. Maybe you probably are more in tune with like some of the synchronicities that are happening in your life. So anyway, Nine of Swords. This is a kind of sad, kind of grim picture for these polar bears. Like this mother bear is obviously worried about her cub's future because she can see that the ice is melting much more quicker. There's less places for seals to kind of rest on where they would hunt. They'd have to now swim everywhere. So she's kind of like worried about the future, right? For her cub, really, and herself as well. So it's kind of like a sad thing. However, she can't change her environment and that's around her and what she can only do what she can do in the moment. It's hard to kind of just say that because we do plan and think for the future, but we don't want to just worry about things that we have no control over as well. And I think this is where this retreat is coming through. It's giving you the space to really think about all the decisions that not just you've made, but that you can make now to improve your situation or get into a more harmonious balance, like creature comfort kind of feeling. We'll see what the cards come through with this. It does take some time. I don't think it's going to take like all your time, but it may be a process of I'm going to do a little bit here, a little bit here, and it might take a few months, right? Maybe you go through it faster. It just depends on the situation, how you're feeling and what's going on. But regardless, even if you're not going through anything overly troubling, this is going to be a good time to understand yourself, I guess. Understand yourself and understand like where you're at and what's really calling to your heart, right? Singing in your heart. Is it a relationship? Is it a new job? Is it like doing something you enjoy? The past should not be chains, that's all. Okay. Okay, so you got outer space, take time to heal, grow, and expand. Right next to the retreat. Yeah. I mean, we already kind of know that and understand that. I think you'll be uncovering more about yourself and understanding like where your energy's at. And even here, it feels like it's really touching on the fire and the air sign or the air kind of elements for you. And then I feel like poor old Taurus is getting dragged through this as well, you know, because they may be needing to shift some stuff, move some stuff while they're in their like most balanced position. Obviously, that's not specifically, it just feels like Taurus keeps popping up. So I just kind of keep talking about it. It does say talk about tactile, grounded, and stable, right? They love that. Like, it's like, who doesn't love stability, right, as well? But sometimes, you know, when we're right next to an Aries sign, Aries wants to like get out there, go do, go experience, go expand, go enjoy. And that's absolutely fine too. But everyone here is best served like whatever they do in the future, whether that's hibernating or like in the winter, right, coming up, hibernating in the winter or like going out and enjoying the snow. Whoever they are, whatever they do in the future, it's always great to understand where our energy is and what we're doing and how we're feeling and thinking. So that's exactly what I see in your reading today. The outer space card is really cool. Take time to heal, grow, and expand, whatever that is for you. That's kind of sums up everything that's come through, with Zadkiel being like the memory aid and this Nine of Wands being like, it's been a tough ride for some of you, for sure. All right, take care of yourself, everyone. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you in your next reading.